Well, now that we finally have a Speaker of the House, we can get back to work. And right now, the number one thing we need to focus on is our border.
Senator Kennedy.
Yeah, Senator Kennedy. He did apparently a little bit of an interview with some of the guys down that are control of the border. So this is your Biden administration, taxpayer money, hard at work. And Senator John Kennedy is going to check it out and find out what exactly they're doing down there. This is where we find Senator John Kennedy asking the right questions. Check this out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Morant, since President Biden's been president, how many non-American citizens have come into our country illegally or on the basis of a claim of asylum?
Millions.
Thank you, Senator. HSI as an investigative agency is...
Do you know the number?
No, Senator.
You're a senior member of Homeland Security, are you not?
That's correct.
Does anybody know the number?
We do,
None
but
of
we're
you
not
know
going to
the
tell you.
Try 8 million.
John knows.
Now, of that 8 million, how many were children, Mr. Morant?
I don't have that number, Senator.
You don't know. Does anybody know?
No.
None of you know. Isn't that special? Let's assume half. Okay. 8 million is 4 Nebraskas, right? 4 new states.
They're befuddled. They don't know what to say.
They're just like,
Let's assume, I don't think it's as high, half of them are children. How many of those 8 million people are still here?
we don't know.
Do any of you know? Okay. How many of those 8 million are claiming asylum?
There's got to be paperwork for that.
There's got to
You don't
be.
know? How many of them claim asylum and don't show up for their hearing?
There's definitely,
Probably none of them.
probably, but there's definitely a way to know that number.
Nobody knows.
The Biden
How many of
administration.
them claim asylum, don't show up for the hearing, and President Biden has deported them?
Here's my assumption.
Yeah, none.
You don't know? How many of them have claimed asylum, shown up for their asylum hearing, and been denied asylum
There's records.
and been deported?
There's records of that. Yeah.
You don't know.
Let's be honest here. Come on.
How
They
many
know.
of them
They know.
were from Mexico? You don't know. How about 30%? That means 70% were not, right? Surely you know the
How
answer
do
to
they
that.
have jobs? I don't get this.
30%
They
minus
know.
100% is 70%.
They're just not saying
Am I right?
because they're not able to say.
Okay. Let's
No.
30%
Why are
came
they
from
there?
Mexico.
They're not even saying anything.
Why don't you implement a safe third country policy?
Yeah, I've always
It
said
says
that.
under asylum,
Go to the nearest country.
under our asylum rules, you have to seek asylum in the first safe country.
Right.
So if you come, say, from Venezuela or Nicaragua or another Central American country, you have to seek asylum in the first safe country. Why don't you do that? And then that would eliminate 70% of
Because
the 8
there's
million.
agendas
That's
in
5.6 million.
That's why.
That's what most people do, though.
Why don't
Most
you
countries.
do that, Mr. Morant?
Probably because the other countries aren't letting this happen right now.
Because they want sleeper cells here in the U.S.
Yep.
Is that a question, sir?
Yes.
The hell you think it was?
That's
All I've been asking are questions.
that's beyond the purview of HSI.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
How about you, Mr. Salazar? You're a former advisor to the vice president. How come we don't do a safe third country agreement?
Sir, we're working with our partners in the region. 21 countries signed on to the Los Angeles Declaration.
Have you done a safe third country agreement? You've had, what have you been at it, 2 years?
What we are doing is working with them to expand legal pathways.
Why doesn't President Biden get up
Legal
in the morning
pathways.
tomorrow and say, we're changing the asylum process and we're doing what most other countries do, safe third country policy. You have to seek asylum. We support asylum. We have to seek asylum in the first safe country. That would eliminate 5.6 million people Boom,
There's an
done. Coming into our
agenda.
Well,
country.
they want
illegal.
those. They need the
Wouldn't
new
it?
voters.
Yeah.
Sir, I just want to
That's
point out. in
exactly why.
Washington-
Wouldn't it?
It would, sir, but there are
Okay.
activities underway.
Let me ask you this, because I'm going to run out of time. President Biden and all of you believe in open borders, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. No answer.
Don't you?
Yes. No answer means yes.
I mean, I ask really basic questions. I don't mean any disrespect.
I do.
I appreciate
I
you
do.
being here. And I know you all love our country.
I
Do
don't.
they?
As we all do.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But I believe
they're
in
paid
straight
off.
answers. I like straight answers and breakfast food.
Amen, brother.
And there are only two possibilities here. Either President Biden and his team believe in open borders, or the people that the president has put in charge of the immigration policy of this country are not qualified to manage a food truck.
That is a fact.
Amen,
And
brother.
nobody's that incompetent.
Well,
You folks believe in open borders, don't you?
questionable.
Sir, I think we believe in secure borders.
Wrong.
You don't even
Wrong.
know, then you don't even know how, well, I'm going to take 30 more seconds. You don't even know how many people have come in illegally since
But they
President Biden
do.
But you take it seriously.
has been president. You're a former senior advisor to the Vice President of the United States, Mr. Salazar.
None of this is
And you
out.
can't even give me a number?
No, sir.
That's like going to an oncologist and asking him, what's cancer? And he says, I don't know.
I love you.
Give me a break.
Senator Welch?
Thank you. I thank the witnesses. Just speaking to my friend Senator Kennedy, this
Oh, I wanted to hear what he had to say. Because he was just like, all right, yeah, after that burn, here's you some ice.
There's only so long you can believe they're just incompetent. They know all this stuff.
They know every bit of this.
He nailed it when he said you want open borders. They do.
Yeah, they do. They do. Because they know they have an agenda to follow. And if they let out any of these answers to any of these questions, they'll be on the chopping block. They'll show up somewhere.
Well, this administration is the worst in the history of the nation.
Amen.
It will go down as the worst administration in history. And I know Democrats don't want to hear this, but Donald Trump said exactly that. The borders would fly open and we would be at war.
Yep.
And he
guess
nailed
what?
both of them.
Both of those are happening.
And myself and many other people agreed then, and we've just watched it happen. There's nothing we can do about it. So
I hate that phrase. At this point, I hate it. I hate it. There's nothing we can do.
well, there's got to be a point where people's eyes open up to the fact that they didn't care about the border hemorrhaging because
No.
all of these people were down in the South. But as soon as you start busing them up to these bigger cities, oh, now they care. And they're getting a small percentage.
Yeah,
8 million people, and they're getting 10,000, and they're whining and bitching about, we can't, New York can't hold this many. Well, you think Brownsville, Texas can?
Yeah.
You think these little small border towns, and do you think these people are coming across the border and staying in those border towns? There's where you're really wrong. You go and watch any videos from these border towns. I watched Vivek Ramaswamy's, and they were saying one of the worst problems they have is as soon as these people get across the border, they're stealing cars, they're breaking into houses, they're doing everything they can to get whatever they need to move them to wherever it is they want to go. And the real reality that people don't want to face is out of those 8 million people, many of those are the exact people that just attacked Israel, creating sleeper cells in our own country.
Yep. Just waiting on the cue.
When they get word that they need something to happen, these people are more than happy because if nothing else, they hate America. They hate our freedoms. They hate our arrogance.
They hate everything. They literally hate and despise everything.
I mean, if you need an example, look at all the people out there that hate Tom Brady.
Yeah. For no reason.
I'm a Falcons fan. I don't care for Brady. I'll hear it 28-3 till I die.
Yeah. Fact.
So I have no reason to love Brady. But I really don't have a reason to hate him. He's not a terrible guy from what I've seen from interviews and just so, I mean, I can't even hate the guy.
Yeah.
But when you ask a Democrat about Donald Trump, they absolutely despise him. And I can't for the life of me figure out what exactly he did so horrible to create the atmosphere that he had to deal with.
Because he was blunt and he was honest.
Well, you impeached him twice. And the first one was absolute bullcrap, and they've already proven it. The Steele dossier was manufactured, and he's still going to have that impeachment on his record, even though you did it falsely, and no one has gone to jail for doing this to a sitting president of the United States. So then you did it again. You impeached him again. Now you're getting him for all this January 6th nonsense. This administration is absolutely awful and evil. I don't think they're incompetent. This is part of their plan. Hemorrhage the border, make it where you don't need an ID to vote, and you're getting in new voters because every day the eyes of the American people are opening wider and you're losing those voters.
Yep.
The problem is the Republican Party has fractured itself so badly with what they did with the entire Secretary of State, just nonsense. Matt Gaetz was right the entire time, but that's what showed Republicans, the voters. There's people in that party that are just war hawk rhinos. Being an independent, it's usually comical to watch the two parties fight and go through this, but it ain't funny no more.
It's not funny anymore.
It's not funny anymore because this is life altering.
Yeah.
We're going into a third world war, and I believe it's by design to keep this administration in office to see how far they can destroy this country, because nobody anywhere on the planet is going to take down the United States. There is not a superpower out there that can even come close to him. The United States can leave the UN and literally take over the world by themselves with the amount of military and advancements that we have over other countries. You have to destroy this country from within.
Yeah.
And to do that, you need to let people who hate this country in. You have to tell the media to teach people to hate this country from within. You have to tell young black males that their life is in danger anytime a police officer is anywhere near. You have to tell them that the majority of the people, which are white, are the enemy, and that white supremacy is the biggest problem this country faces. The biggest problem this country faces is called the Biden administration.
Yep.
And it will destroy this country. And it will do everything it can to stay in power. Don't even question that. That is a fact.
That's just a fact.
Because in times of war, a presidential election is null and void. We're not going to re-elect another president if we're at war when that time comes. And with all the 91 indictments on Donald Trump, who is absolutely the front runner, and I truly believe will beat this administration just off of, hell, all he's got to do is just not even talk about what all things he did while he was president. He just needs to show the things that they took away that he did.
Yeah.
And show the results of what those executive orders that Biden did as soon as he took office and started removing from the Trump administration, and to show where we are now. He didn't even have to go out and say what he did. He can just go, okay, look what we've done since I've been out of office. We've got wars in 3 different countries right now, including ours. Make no mistake, we're going to be at war with Iran because that's the convenient way to keep Biden in office.
Yep.
We've got Israel and Palestine. We've got Russia and Ukraine. We've got enough wars, China and Taiwan. We got enough wars to have a World War III, and that would keep that administration in office. And when you have people like these idiots that were sitting up here was that a question, sir?
See, but here's my thing. I thought, and I may have been taught wrong, I don't know. I thought that an administration will only resume post, all the election stuff if war happened on our soil only.
Yes and no. Technically, it's supposed to be a war on our soil.
That the administration would stay in office.
But with the amount of people that have crossed that border, and with the amount of just the dirt that we have currently with Iran and Syria, they're attacking, our substations, our military stations overseas, and we just retaliated on that. That's just the beginning. There's the red flag. There's where it begins. All it's going to take is any one of these sleeper cells that has come in, and if you don't know what a sleeper cell is, please go in and Google it. It's just basically a mass amount of people with the same dedicated ideal in order to harm this country. Iran doesn't have to actually come to our soil to do that. they can send these people from these sleeper cells to go out and do terroristic attacks, and technically that is war on our land. And so therefore they're going to bypass the election until the war is over. So just beware. Just keep a close eye. I mean, anything I've said, if it's wrong, correct me in the comments, but this is my understanding of how these things work. And I am just fully expecting exactly that. By 2024, an event much like what happened with Maine is going to happen, but instead of being just some crazy, ex-military guy that went to a nut house and was released and no red flag was thrown, he couldn't buy a gun, but somehow he managed to have one. So gun laws are not going to do anything for that. If a guy wants a gun, he's going to go get a gun, whether it's legal or not. And in this case, it was not legal for him to have it. He did it anyway. But something like that is going to happen. And they're going to start yelling, in the name of Hamas or whoever. And right when you do that, that's a wrap. That's considered war on our turf. So we're going to see. The Democrat Party has turned.
Yeah.
The squad has taken over. They're proud of it.
Because they're doing what they want them to do. So
those Democrats right there are applauding these four right now because they're so brave that they're standing in front of Senator Kennedy. This is just a travesty to our country. And I'm just frankly sick of it. So let's discuss more. Get in the comments, join our Discord. Lots of fun conversations. Like, share,
subscribe.
do the thing.
Do the thing.
And until the next time, guys, as always, come at me, bro.